Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, Spence, let's trip out.
I'm afraid not every human is as smurfy as they should be, Sassy.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Yeah, certainly. Here we are.
This pizza pie won't pass. Too many calories. Oh, the rest is okay. Natural light! Get it off me! Get it off me!
I don't know the meaning of the word chip.
Documented Geek Day.
All right. This has been a long time coming. We got our buddy Zeke XIII back. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys? It has been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a good while. I think the last time we talked to you, I was still in Pennsylvania. That was
I think so.
2 years ago now.
Yeah, something like that.
Fuck. Damn, that's been 2 years.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
you moved. That's when I jumped on here. So yeah, and literally like almost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was-
pretty much.
Texas.
Yeah, you were still in Texas. That's right.
Yeah.
A lot of big changes have happened.
Exactly.
You guys, you got new music coming out in October, per usual. October 13th, the new album drops.
As always.
Of course, that's a few months away. But today, I jumped on your YouTube channel and checked out the song Demise. And I picked up, like, I remember the first time we had you on, we kept gushing about how it kept taking us back to, like, the late 90s, early 2000s new metal, that vibe. Well, to me, that's exactly what this song did, because I heard Stabbing Westward, I heard Korn, I heard Slipknot, I heard Static X, I heard all that shit that I loved and still love. And it just, like, you do not have one song that repeats itself. And by that, I mean, you don't have any two songs that sound the same.
Yeah.
You know, similar, yes, but the same, no. You don't have Nickelback syndrome at all. You know what I mean?
I try not to anyway.
So
Yeah.
right, and you're essentially a one-man band,
Right.
and so to me that just shows the creativity and the talent that you as a person have.
Thank you.
You know, and that, of course, dude, because that takes not only dedication but just pure passion. You know what I mean? So to see that going on, man, just, hell yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And to see you just keep plugging away and not giving up on it, it's just pretty fucking badass to me.
Yeah. And, you know, I still got 6 more albums worth of story to tell. And then, you know, 2030 is right around the corner. Around then I'm gonna start thinking about, like, you know, the future after 13, because, you know, I don't know if this band's gonna, like, go away forever after that happens, or if I'm just gonna, like, you know, take a break from it, do some other stuff, maybe come back to it later and try something else. But you know, it's all about just, like, getting through this journey, you know, getting to the destination, appreciating the journey on the way, but, like, you know, in the end, seeing, like, what comes after, like, because it's a total fucking mystery to me. I have no idea what's waiting for me at the end of this whole thing, but I'm still marching in it. Yeah,
exactly. That's all you can do. And for Jason and Billy here, they haven't spoken with you yet, but go ahead and sum up. When did 13 become an idea for a thing? Or, like, when did you come up with the concept?
So 13 was a project I started in early high school when I was getting way into the music that was popular at the time, which was the tail end of the new metal era, going into like the early 2000s melodic metalcore era. Like I got way into bands like Korn, Slipknot, System of a Down, Killswitch Engage, Disturbed, Linkin Park, all the good shit, Deftones, Limp Bizkit, and you know, I wanted to do this like new metal sounding stuff because Korn's like my favorite band. I always wanted to be just like Jonathan Davis or like Corey Taylor. Um, but I was coming into the tail end of that era after everyone had already like they've had their fill of it. It's out the door. Like people are starting to listen to emo music now. And I was like, no, I want to do this thing. So I'm gonna write a bunch of songs that, feel like the kind of music I want to make. And, I don't know when I'm gonna ever be able to like bring them to the stage for real, but I'm gonna have them in my back pocket while I, play around in these other newer sort of genres that were coming up. Because I ended up in like a hardcore screamo band. I ended up in like a melodic metalcore band. That was actually the band that got me to move from the Bay Area out to Austin, Texas, back in 2013. I was like 22 at the time. Um, just because the band I was in at that time was touring every summer. We wanted to be closer to you know, both sides of the country. So, um, and then around 2016, that band broke up. It, was honestly a long time coming, but I was like, I finally have this opportunity to, bring out this music I've been holding on to for a long time that I never felt like I could put forward because it just wasn't what people were interested in. This was also like around the time like the metalcore crowd was starting to rediscover new metal, and that sort of sound was becoming more and more popular again. And look where we're at now. It's everywhere, all over again. Hella people are listening to
Limp
like
Bizkit just headlined a festival in Daytona. You know,
yeah. Limp Bizkit has made a fucking hell of a comeback. Like it's
Dad
like
Durst.
they yeah,
And
yeah.
Or
They
like or Durst.
of all the bands, yeah, of all the bands to age so perfectly, why Limp Bizkit? But yeah, we so I restarted 13 in 2016 with my best friend and former guitar player Dylan. I was also in the band Aerith Dies, which was a like symphonic metalcore pop punk sort of band. And we were playing a bunch of shows as both bands around the Austin, Texas area, as well as other places, close by. We played San Antonio, Houston. Uh, we played a bar in Oklahoma that I liked to, play on tour a lot. Um, and yeah, that was actually where we had the first show back with 13 in 2016. We traveled out of Texas for that first show. Um, but I came up with this idea because I looked at the calendar and I noticed that it was about to be 2017, and in 3 years it was going to be 2020. And Dylan gave me this idea of like, what if 13 had 13 albums, and that sounds like a long, grueling, arduous process because albums tend to take a really long time. But I had already like pre-made several 13 albums that I didn't really know what to do with until he said that, and then it all clicked for me. So then I singled out one day every year, October 13th, and I started this in 2017, released the first 13 album, October 13th, 2018, released the second album, 2019, released the third album, 2020 rolls around, released the fourth album, And now when you look at the calendar, you look at the year, 2020, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 is 4. The year the fourth album dropped. 2021, same thing, the fifth album. And it goes on and on like that until 2030, 2029 equals 13. So
Shit.
I saw that on the calendar and I knew exactly what I had to do. So I set out on this journey, release a new album every year on October 13th until we have 13 full-length studio albums. And each album tells a different piece of a long story. This past year, we just released the 7th album. And there are 2 full arcs of storyline that we've already gotten through to get to this point. We just started a 3rd one, and that should conclude, I think, at the end of the 9th album. And then the 4th and final arc of the entire storyline proceeds from there until the end. So yeah, I've had all of this music like planned, ahead of time. Like I know how I want each album to sound. I know what kind of like genre specific type of ideas I want to play with. I know what I want the mix to sound like. Like this current album I'm doing is the 8th album, and I decided for the first time to record a whole album on an 8-string guitar, which I don't do. I actually don't feel the most comfortable playing an 8-string guitar because the neck is so thick. I can't wrap my entire hand around it. Like the 7-string is like the perfect range and fit for my hands, which is why I've always stuck to that. But I did this whole album on an 8-string guitar, and I, tried to experiment a lot with it. And like, yeah, there's a lot of like what you hear in Demise and like Twisted. There's a lot of like that sort of like new metal influence that 13 has always had, but there's also like experimentation on the songs that haven't been heard yet, where like one song sounds a bit more like gothic rock, like Hymn Stone Sour. Right. Another song sounds like black metal, like I wanted to say Dimmu Borgir, but not really a symphonic sort of black metal band, just more like your typical like. Yeah. And then there's another song that sounds like a Nirvana, like Alice in Chains style, like droney sort of grunge song. And this is all on an 8-string guitar, which currently is the gent instrument. Like everyone who's like doing modern metal, doing the gent thing, they're all doing 8-string, 9-string and up, guitars. Ridiculous. And like, yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's funny, but like, I fucked around with that a little bit on this album, but like I didn't want it to be like the defining sound. Right. So like it's there, but it's not as prevalent as the other genres that I'm messing around with, really. Like there's a song that's it's a fucking like hard rockin' like butt rock song on an 8-string guitar with a fat breakdown in the middle section and again at the end. And it's like, it sounds like injecting James Hetfield with steroids, and like suddenly he grows 2 extra strings. But and then yeah, there's so much playing around with like what I'm what I'm doing on an 8-string that I don't think a lot of other 8-string guitarists are doing, because this is so much more caveman like the way I'm doing it. And it seems like the people who are going with the 8-string stuff are more like, precision based. They're more technical minded. I'm just not that kind of artist. Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of challenging yourself as you go.
Exactly. Okay. And I had no idea the album was going to turn out the way it sounded. And I'm trying to get my mixing chops back because I kind of lost them a little bit on the last album. I had such a specific mix idea that I wanted that I'm glad I achieved, but it's a bit far from like what is considered the most professional sounding mix. So I'm trying to get a little bit of that back. But then the next album after this, I plan on making it the worst mixed album I've ever done. Like I'm purposefully like taking the suck shit knob and I'm pushing it all the way down till it snaps. And then after the fact, I'll make it sound, so that it doesn't destroy y'all speakers. Like I'll rein it in and like going in, I'm gonna make it sound like shit and it's gonna be awesome.
Plan. Crush fucking everything.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. October 13th, 2025, the worst mixed album ever.
For no other reason. You may not even want to listen to it, but you're going to
For
want to.
no other reason other than he simply can.
The only purpose is to compare it to other albums you have and see if it's true. Like he's going for a goal. Help him reach it.
You have a year and a half, people.
I'm trying to put the listener in hell via the mix, which hearing it will sound like hell. Yes,
that is a very
It's good to have goals. You got something to reach for, or reach down to. Reach less of. I'm not sure the proper way to put that.
I knew exactly what you meant, so it's no issue.
That's fucking awesome. That is absolutely awesome. So if you can sit down and literally plan and be like, okay, I've got an entire overall arcing storyline, and here's the main point. Eventually, I'm going to make an entire album that is dedicated to making your speakers sound sad. Like, that's fucking wonderful. I think it's glorious that anybody would go that route. I was like, a lot of people are like, I'm going to come up with a magic fucking note, the magic fucking tone that anybody could play it on anything. You can listen to it on your phone. You can listen to it in your car. It's going to sound wonderful. Not you. I fucking respect the shit out of that. Take your fucking $1,500 Kenwood system and put this on. Now regret your decision.
Oh man, yeah. No, I got the idea from the Broken EP by 9 Inch Nails. That's where the direct inspiration for this idea came from.
I haven't thought about that. Broken and Fixed, man. I've not thought about those fucking releases in easily 20 years.
Yeah.
Like that.
No, you're not alone.
Well, I mean, they're both incredible albums. They sound great together. I mean, Reznor.
Yeah.
Well, Reznor proved he was fucking brilliant off a Pretty Hate Machine. Like he did.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Alone, just that immediately was like this whole brand new fucking thing.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase. Maybe not brand new, but it definitely pulled something that was not brand new to the forefront.
Now
maybe a better way to put it.
He like defined the industrial music movement that was already coming up.
He did.
Time. He defined.
That was if you said industrial, you couldn't say it without saying 9 Inch Nails. You couldn't.
Right.
You could do it.
Yeah, before that it was bands like Gary Newman, Depeche Mode, like that, and Reznor comes around and like changes not only the way it sounds, but like puts it in front of a mainstream audience. Right.
Oh, yeah, dude, it was enough for David Bowie to ask him to mix. You know what I mean? Like that was David Bowie of all people to step in and be like, I like this. Let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah.
Which talk about a literal living musical legend at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
No, he was. Trent Reznor is. I mean, he's always been super influential. I don't think there's anybody that would ever argue the level of influence the guy ever had.
Yeah.
But Fixed and no, back like literally just be releasing 2 CDs back to back. That is a wonderful influence, and seriously, I do respect the shit out of anybody that is literally dropping an album in a line of albums to specifically make people adjust their speakers.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
Yeah, it won't be too harsh on y'all. It won't so much destroy your speakers that it'll make you hear it and be like, what the fuck was he thinking? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's kind of what I'm like. I wasn't joking. Like Bit Crush everything. But Bit Crush.
Yes, that is the secret weapon. Is the Bit Crusher. That is the ultimate secret weapon of 13. If I'm being totally honest.
Oh, dude, it's a fucking wonderful tool. It's a great effect. It sounds good on almost anything you put it on, with the exception of a bass drum. And even a bass drum, if it's like a TR-808, like low bass, it sounds pretty cool on. It sounds like a fucking asteroids explosion. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
Atari Teenage Riot did it all the time. They sounded wonderful.
I put it on all kinds of shit. It instantly makes my music sound like Linkin Park, and that always makes me happy because I love that band. Rest in peace, Chester. He's the fucking man.
Yeah, that was a sad fucking moment.
It was.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about
Him
actually
and Chris Cornell.
how
Yeah.
many years. Like it was him, and then it was what's his fucking
Chris Cornell
yeah,
died
like
first,
literally
and
like
then
a
like a
year
month
after,
later, his
right?
Chester.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't even a year. It was like a month or two.
I mean, I know like they were
Yeah.
close. They talked a lot. So I mean, I kind of wonder about
They were
that,
best friends.
right?
Yeah.
It's
They were best friends.
It's so weird to me the number of
Yeah.
people that fucking like get the dream. For I mean, any number of us that have been in bands, any of us that are still in bands, any of us that are still like really going for it. It's weird to me like somebody could attain what they were going for. I mean, Kurt Cobain, obviously one of the biggest ones you could name, but I mean, there were so many others throughout rock and roll history.
Yeah.
It's
And not just rock and roll, though, but entertainment as a whole.
music in
You
general.
look at
I mean,
Robin Williams,
what is it, the 23, 21, 23 club, 27 club? What is it?
27 club.
27, yeah.
Which even that is, I mean, that's pretty fucking bizarre. I mean, it's not that bizarre because you look at the number of people that were in the industry. It's bound to happen, and it's going to have some numbers in it. But it is strange how many, like, truly prolific, legendary fucking musicians are involved in that shit.
Yeah. For
Janis
real.
Joplin, Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's like,
Cobain.
you go down the whole list, and every single person you name, people are going to be like, "Oh yeah, that," you know.
Robert Johnson's on that list.
What
Right,
was
but he
Jim-
sold his soul. I read the story.
I think he was the
Yeah,
first
was-
one, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
But he wasn't necessarily the first one, but like the first one that's like has the level of fame that he has.
Right.
You know,
Well, I mean, if you recall the Robert Johnson thing, I remember reading it on the inside of an album. There was like a blues compilation album that my girlfriend's dad had at the time, and it was the whole thing about like people couldn't figure out how he played the way he played or how he came up with the lyrics.
Yeah.
And like when I heard it, I was into punk and metal, so like when I heard it, I was like, this sounds like a dude shitting on a guitar over a really crappy microphone. You know what I mean? Like it's not nothing personal about it. I'm saying like I go back and listen to it as an adult, and I could give it the respect that it's due. I mean, it was
right.
a alter like it was a specific moment frozen and played. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was a turning point in music.
Yeah.
So I get that. But either way, he sold his soul. I read the inside of the fucking record. Is what I'm
Yeah.
fucking
And how do I go about
Like-
doing that?
Kurt Cobain is a huge influence of mine too, because his attitude towards music is it was so unique because everyone else was like, chasing fame and money and sales of records and all of that. And he was just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just playing music. You guys are the ones like getting all obsessed over it,
True.
And he never cared for the fame, but he took it anyway.
He
And
did like the money. He did like there's a lot of people don't realize when Nirvana first got together, and like all members that we know. So Dave Grohl on drums and Chris, what's his name?
No,
Novoselic.
on bass, and then Kurt. They had a understanding before Nevermind came out that they were going to split everything down the line. So 33% in every direction. Yeah. And then after I know I'm not saying this to talk shit about the guy. I'm just pointing out that money's important because after Nevermind started selling huge, the next album was Heart Shaped Box or In Utero. In Utero. Yeah, he said anything that he wrote, which was the main riffs on everything as well as lyrics, was 100% his.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So it is just proving that I don't know if money changes people or if he understood after that point how much he lost by making the original deal. In perpetuity, the albums while he was still alive, either that or an altruistic reason, possibly he knew that he had a daughter and fully intended to kill himself. So he wanted to make sure that musical rights would cover any possible future. I'd like to believe that might have been the case.
Right.
Yeah, it's possible. Like, I mean, he did seem like the kind of person who, like, if he was gonna kill himself, he would have planned it, like, had, an idea of what to leave behind to who. But also, like, I mean, shit, dude. Like, Kurt's philosophy was so unique and, different from everyone else's that you can look at him killing himself and see like artistic intention behind it. Like there a lot of people who like succumb to depression and suicide, like even if they are creatives, like their suicide isn't usually like an extension of that, but in his case,
Right.
it's arguable that it is, and that's interesting, but also like kind of confusing if you consider like the possibility that Courtney Love did this shit to him.
I was wondering about that. I mean, I've definitely read the theories, and there's the one retired Seattle guy, the detective.
Oh, I forget the name of the movie. I know what you're talking about. It was like a
so like he said, like like what he saw, blah 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 blah. It's interesting to me. Okay, that's great that that's what you saw, but everybody else there didn't see it, and you wrote a book in progress. Right. So really weigh it out. Who are you going to believe in that situation?
Right.
I'm not saying one way or the other because I wasn't there. I don't know. It is like he was dead for 3 fucking days before his electrician or somebody found him, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It was a repair guy found it, was like searching for him to figure out what he was supposed to do.
Damn.
I don't know. I don't know the Courtney. She might have done it. I doubt it. I feel like it probably wasn't. I mean, that was if she had, I feel like by this point it would have come out.
Yeah, I mean, I hear it pop up every now and then, and like I don't know what to believe, because like, there could be solid evidence, but it's almost always being presented to me by someone who's like, all intense and sweaty and like trying to like convince people.
Yeah, and that's where I always get it from too, which is why I have a hard time with it.
Yeah, exactly. Like most
at first it holds a little bit of water, and then the longer it goes, the more into it they get, and the more it comes on the receiving end of that information.
Right. Like most conspiracy theories become completely uninteresting to me, at times based on like the manner of the person presenting it. Like,
yeah, no, that's it exactly. Actually, that's a very succinct way to put it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need like a college professor Ben Stein kind of guy, very monotone, just not sweaty.
Information in the calmest way you can. It still does not melt at this temperature. It melts at this.
Weird.
Also, Democrats eat babies.
Look what you did.
Well, on that note, we're going to cut to a break.
We're going to get back to false information.
We got a surprise.
Nintendo. It's for breakfast now. Nintendo. It's a cereal. Wow. Nintendo. Super Mario Jump. Nintendo. In a fruit flavored crunch. Nintendo. Here's Zelda too. Nintendo. It's very good news. Nintendo. You just can't move. Nintendo cereal system is a super part of this nutritious breakfast. Nintendo. 2 cereals in 1. Wow.
I failed again.
How about these, Master?
Hi there. My name is Teddy Ruxpin. How are you today?
Fine.
Well then, I would like to tell
Teddy
you
Ruxpin, the world's first animated storytelling bear. Now available at stores everywhere.
One of my cats likes to like put all 4 of her paws on the rim of the litter box and like hang off of the rim of the, like she's hovering her ass while holding herself by the rim of the litter box and taking a shit in the box. Like she doesn't want to touch the sand if she's taking a shit.
It's fucking gross. She's gonna have to spend hours cleaning that. But
yeah, well, I mean, it makes it in the box. She's still clean about it. It's just weird that she like stands on the rim of the take a shit.
That's pretty fucking clever from my standpoint. I mean, like, as far as that goes, like if you can stretch and do it, go for it, kitty.
Oh yeah, if I can get her to do this on a toilet seat, we're golden.
Dude, it is one of the most hilarious things in the world. Watch a bit, like you see, look at videos of it on YouTube if you get bored. Cat potty training, fucking hilarious.
Nice.
It's the best opening to a segment we've ever had.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that your cat does not cover her shit.
No, she does. She just hangs off the rim of the litter box as she's taking the shit, and then she like was very modest about like shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
He's a clean cat otherwise, but I'm just like, anytime she goes to the bathroom, I'm like, why are you doing that? What does that do?
From the cat standpoint, mind your business. I'm in the middle of something.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, cats are very interesting creatures. Craig knows. We've had appearances by his buddy Vader quite a bit on the show.
Nice.
Eight of them.
Here's my Vader. There he is.
People tell me.
It's a good cat. Not from Salem, the talking cat.
People will tell me they're crazy cat ladies, and then you talk to Craig, who has 8 cats. Who's the crazy cat lady?
Crazy cat ladies, though, they just keep gathering them. Craig, on the other hand, they just keep coming to him.
Yep.
He's not searching for them; they just show up.
We live in an area where it sucks, but people do that. They just drop off cats, and that's always the way it's been.
Yeah.
We come in the middle of the night, just put cats on our property, like go your own way.
You're like Caesar Milan, the dog whisperer.
The dog whisperer. You're the cat whisperer.
Craig's the cat whisperer.
Voice though, instead of that ant, you'd be like.
you just like
Cat says he's ignoring me.
You're like face to face with the cat. You're just like,
yeah, no.
And the cat's just like, why are you doing that? What are you doing that for?
But that's why
Where's my tuna, bitch?
Oh my god.
No, I had a cat. Well, not my cat, but my sister had a cat from Sylvester, and he was just a tomcat, black and white tomcat, looked like Sylvester in the cartoon. And he would be upstairs in her townhouse. I remember coming to visit her one Thanksgiving, and she was like, "I got to finish up with work. Just help yourself, make yourself at home." Blah blah blah. I pulled the weed out of the drawer, and as soon as he heard the bag come out of the drawer, you hear this cat barreling down the stairs because he weighed like 25 pounds, and he just takes a running leap and lands right on my gut. And I was like, well, thank fuck I didn't open the bag yet.
Yeah.
Because there would have been, it would have been like, but he would just pop his big ass right on my gut and he'd stare me down the entire time I'd be hitting the bowl or joint, whatever I was smoking. He'd be like, come on, man, share.
Yeah.
Friend growing up, kid named Will Wellborn. You know what I mean? You guys know what a Maine Coon is, right? Like the Maine Coon cats.
Yeah. I used to have one.
My best friend in the whole world was a Maine Coon.
Oh, they're super smart. They're on, like they are literally they'll play fetch and shit. They're super smart kitties.
They're loving. They're cuddly. They're so. At least mine was the nicest cat ever. He was all fat and lazy and fluffy. It was the best.
Yeah. That's how they all are. They are just wonderful. Like they will literally just like they'll under your chin and just snuggle and go to sleep. Wonderful cats. But the thing is, they're big. They're very big.
Yeah.
They're huge for a house. Yeah. Okay, so his cat had an issue where they had to put it on steroids when it was a kitten.
Oh shit!
It got bigger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger cat.
It was that we called it Terminator Kitty. It was like
shit.
And it was still just as cuddly though. So like I was like 13, 14 years old. I'd spend the night at this guy's house, right? And there was a waterbed in the room that I got to sleep in, and that's where the cat would also go. He was very kind, never used claws or anything, but he would under the chin. I would end up in the crack between the waterbed and the fucking frame with this cat on top of me, and like I was held in place by like I don't know 600 gallons of fucking water or whatever. It's probably fucking more than that. And a cat that weighed as much as a fucking Doberman. He was so cute. Like I would wake up and I would be like trying to breathe out of the side of my mouth because I didn't want to disturb him because it was cute. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to offend him. Plus, I was afraid he would use his claws and that would just go bad for fucking everyone.
Yeah.
There goes the waterbed. There goes Jason's face.
Yeah, no, there goes my face. He would do the kitty biscuits thing, and you just had to let him go because you couldn't fucking fight him. He was on steroids.
Right? Yeah, no.
Fucking thing. If he
make
weren't
biscuits.
you were screwed.
And he made biscuits, motherfucker.
He would. He would absolutely just. And anybody who does not know what a Maine Coon is, go look up their fucking paws. For fuck's sake.
The only cat that I think can rival the Maine Coon is the Norwegian forest cat.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They are
huge.
one of the largest domestic cat breeds I've ever seen.
They're fucking
Like they're
huge.
bigger than Savannah cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're just a small lion essentially.
Teeth like that. Teeth.
But they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
Fucking beautiful animals.
Yeah.
And look, it's just, but they're expensive.
That's
I
true.
would really love a Norwegian forest cat just because they're fucking humongous, but good. God, the price they want. It's like,
yeah.
I could buy a bulldog for the same price, but I'm not spending that much on a bulldog either. You know, I would love to have a bulldog, but nah, not until I hit the lottery.
I wouldn't mind a Rottweiler again. I had when I say
Roddy.
Rotties are wonderful dogs. They're the dopiest, fucking goofiest animals on the planet. They had the worst reputation on the planet. I think pit bulls have them.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because pit bulls are fucking adorable too.
Yeah.
Pit bulls are the sweetest fucking dogs ever.
The problem is with pit bulls is like you have so many people out there that want to have like a big mean dog, and they're like, I'm gonna go get myself a dog and I'm gonna make it mean. People are gonna be afraid of it, and then
those people are called assholes.
Oh yeah, they're fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
Like it was literally the turn of the century. They were called nanny dogs. You could leave your babies with them and they would be safe.
Yeah.
And now there's some that are like double muscled and fucking angry as shit and that have been let go and they pack up and it gets worse. I'm not saying that it makes it okay for some of them to like. There's been some pretty nasty fucking attacks, but it's always irresponsible owners.
Yep.
It's a shitty person.
Dogs only attack in self-defense.
That's not true.
Funny.
I would definitively argue
if
that.
If they're raised to be mean, yes. But generally speaking, if a dog attacks a stranger, it's because that stranger is being an asshole.
Afraid. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, if it's a normal dog that gets freaked out, it's because the dog.
And it's usually a dog that's been put through the ringer like that, like a fighter dog.
They have no fear. I mean, it's like you see how many dogs, like you guys, I know for a fact you've been either at a park or at a friend's house or something, and you see maybe they have a dog. Somebody gets home and the dog just gets flinchy.
Yeah,
I mean, you had to have seen it before. Like that's it's a horrible. Like Augie, the newer dog that we ended up with, like the other day I went to pet him and he flinched, which is weird. I never hit him, right?
Right.
Occasionally I will take things out of his mouth and I will yell at him because he's chewing on something he's not supposed to chew on. But he flinched and I was like, oh my God, I'm a piece of shit. Right. Didn't do it anymore. He doesn't do it now. But the point is like your dog should not flinch in reaction to you.
Right.
No.
Yeah. If he's that sensitive, like he doesn't want to be yelled at, that's cool. I will talk to him kindly and explain to him what he's done wrong. He doesn't speak English, but I'm
but he understands. Trust me.
I will give him a sternly worded letter, and he will.
No, seriously, I might have an easier time teaching him to read.
Nice.
Dude, he's a really good dog. He loves Lily, which is why we got him because
he's like a Meowth from Pokemon.
Okay, that's you know what. That's a good comparison. He's an awesome dog. He's very sweet. He loves his kid. He likes us a lot. He does not like being yelled at. You cannot raise your voice at him and freeze him.
Yeah.
Which puts me in a weird. I've never had a dog you couldn't yell at to get him to stop doing something. Like I'm afraid of what would happen if another dog barks at him.
He'd shit himself.
Like I don't want that to be the case, man. He's a wonderful dog. He shouldn't be crapping himself because another dog's like, hey, it's good to meet you.
Well, the thing is, it only works. Like, it's a good thing if you're just wanting him to take a shit and just being a stubborn ass, then another dog barks at him. Boom, poop. So, hey, mission accomplished.
Yeah,
all I know is I don't yell at him anymore.
Yeah, if you're trying to walk him and he's just taking too long to take a shit, you can just pull out a recording of another dog barking and boom, you're done.
Oh man, I don't know if I'm. You know what? It looks like it's a joke, but if you did it realistically, would you feel okay about it? Like I would use it, but I wouldn't feel about it.
No,
No,
I would
would not
definitely
feel
do it. I'd
okay.
be like, man, it's fucking raining. Like, I'm so sorry.
So-
Let's go in.
yeah. I would feel bad every time. Yeah.
Yeah. So my dog Vinny, you can't really see the tattoo, but yeah, I've talked about Vinny on the show before, but he was an old English bulldog, sweetest dog I've ever met in my life. Real cuddly, real slobbery, bulldog. This dog, I had an air horn that I got just to fuck with people because I'm an asshole. But I could not take this air horn out around Vinny because you could show it to him and he would go ape shit, like growling, barking. You didn't even have to press the button. He hated this air horn. And so anytime I went to use it, like Christmas morning when we woke the kids up, yes, I woke the kids up with an air horn on Christmas morning. It was fucking comedic gold. So,
Oh, I love it. Holy.
I had to barricade Vinny in my bedroom so that he didn't eat me whenever I used the air horn. And I just gave it one little toot, put it away, and then let him out so he could go nuts looking for it for about 5 seconds before he got distracted.
I like the description.
I guess if you-
one little toot.
Well, it was a smaller air horn. Like, you know how you have the big one. Yeah, this is
You might mess
little
yourself
one
a
you get
little,
at the
but not
Walmart.
like full on change your pants.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm talking maybe a little trickle, but not full on foghorn leghorn. You know what I mean?
Just enough to regret dinner.
Moral. Oh shit. Well, yeah. This is always a great time having you on here, Zeke.
Yeah.
You never know what we're going to talk about.
Well, now that we've
But,
now that we've talked thoroughly about dogs shitting, what do you want to talk about?
We went really far off track. We normally pull it back in before that. We
Who doesn't love cats?
Out time. Like the shore is still visible, but you're not really positive how far off it is.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Do you
we
have
love
the
cats.
energy to make the swim back? That's the question.
And we're still off. All right.
Keep rowing.
But,
Just keep rowing.
Anyway. Yeah. All right. So 13, the new album comes out in October 13th, 2024.
Yes.
What was it? What did YouTube say 10 days ago? So last week you put out the single Demise.
Yeah.
What do you have coming up for us?
So I know probably in a couple more months there will be another single drop. I'm trying to figure out if I want to do one or two more singles before the album comes. But I'm also planning a music video and getting two more music videos edited from that one. Which, they're music videos of songs in reverse order to when I released them. A couple of them from previous albums, but there's a bit of a story in these three connected videos that it's funny because like one of them I had already like finished filming and just had them like on my computer ready to be edited, but like I just could never figure out why like the creative juices weren't flowing. It didn't feel right to work on it. It felt like there were other things that I needed to do first and I didn't know what, so I just like kind of put it down. And then I had an idea for the music video for a song on this album, and it kind of spiraled out from there. Like, oh, with that I can do a video from 2 albums ago, and then I can do the one from last album that I've been having trouble putting together. So yeah, there's a few things on the horizon. There's a big surprise in December that I came up with a few days ago. And I mean for like the entire month of December. So yeah. gonna be a lot of things coming up. I'm planning hopefully another live stream or two before the album comes out. I'm trying to take my time with like posting content, so it's like, a monthly around thereabouts, like on the 13th usually is when I get stuff coming out, and it's kind of nice not just constantly pumping my audience with content throughout the year, because then there's breathing room, there's more hype built around the end of the year album release, and I
You
don't.
have some marination.
Yeah, exactly. Like people will hear the album, people will get to take a break afterwards, really digest it. I get to take a break afterwards, which is super necessary for me.
Yes.
And then yeah, pretty much as soon as January 2025 rolls around, I'm gonna check out for a little bit. Maybe in a month or two, y'all hear from me again. But this is, still off in the future. It's right around the corner, but it's still a ways away. But yeah, I'm mostly just excited to get this album out and to actually hear what people think, because I'm, I'm perplexed about it in a positive way, and I'm curious to know what people think about what I've done, because it kind of weirds me out, but in like a good way.
Feedback is important. Feedback is
What was
important
that?
to everybody and everything that you do. It's
Yeah,
and not
definitely.
just like a lot of people would argue that everybody immediately jumps into that criticism thing. Like, no, criticism is important. You got to hear the negative shit so you understand how to fix it. Not necessarily. Like, it's not.
Oh,
You don't have to be critical about anything, but feedback in general. How to make it feel? What did you think about it? Was it good? Was it something that you would want to listen to? That's super fucking important.
Yeah, like I want to hear why people like it. I want to hear why people hate it. If people just want to shit on it, I want to hear that too. Because it's
Like
funny to me.
like is it not advantageous? It's like it's advantageous to hear somebody say like, I did like the one song, but I didn't really like the ending. You know that they liked the beginning though, so that's a fucking start,
Yeah,
right? Like there's so much
yeah,
information in that one little statement.
yeah,
Feedback is always important. It's way more important to get actual feedback than like a thumb.
yeah, definitely. I like when people have more to offer than just songs good, songs bad. But if the people are gonna say songs bad, I want them to fucking roast the shit out of me. Like I want them to get out their fucking Comedy Central,
Get creative with it.
stand up set. Like I want them to practice their set on me. Like I want metal elitists to see me and pull out every sleep token rant that they've ever had and confuse me for that band.
By the way, I'm not gonna lie. Unmetal is a wonderful term. For no other reason than it is depending on who, it's a thinker. Like, just the idea, unmetal. Really?
Yeah.
Cotton?
Yeah, because it's like all my life as a metalhead, and like I said, I got way into like the new metal era, and I saw this meme that was like new metal is an anagram for unmetal, and they're trying to say like, oh, new metal bands aren't real metal, and I was always like, there's so many fucking metal genres. What if there was one that was just a parody of the fact that there are so many metal genres? Like it's satire of like how seriously people are taking this shit, that the point of unmetal is to just, truly not give a fuck about what anyone expects of a metal band and just do whatever. And so like, I'll purposefully break rules, like, the next album's gonna be the worst mixed album that I've done. Yeah.
Talked about it. I am.
It's like testing the boundaries of the rules by completely fucking off with them, That's what unmetal is to me. And it doesn't have to be tied to specifically like the new metal movement. It's it takes inspiration from all over the place, at least the way I do it. Like I think anyone could start an unmetal band that sounds entirely different from me, so long as what they're doing is challenging the conventions of what is considered metal. But like for me, like I take so much inspiration from obviously new metal, but like black metal, death metal, the various like core genres, alt rock, industrial, emo, screamo, like, you know, a bit of hip hop, a bit of electronic stuff. Like I'm all over the place with my influences. All I've ever really wanted to do is create a band where I can do all of that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Right. And that's exactly what you're doing. And it's great shit. Like we've told you numerous times before, man. Like, and like I said earlier, like for you to have this many albums, like you're coming up on your 8th album, that's a lot of fucking music, man. Like
Yeah.
for one band and for each song to be independent of the next.
Yeah.
In a musical sense, like that's insane. You know what I mean? Like you don't hear that from anybody really. Like every band, like you're gonna hear a song on a later album. It's like, oh, that sounds like that song from before. From that album, but like with you guys, that doesn't happen, and that's what really draws me to you guys' music. Is that each song is seriously its own little section of a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's your goal with this is to tell the story of 13.
Right. Yeah.
Through these little chapters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I recently did like a stream where I explained all of the like storyline, the lore, the characters, from album to album. Because you know, I figure like we're halfway through telling the full story, so we may as well recap on everything that we've got. And a lot of the fans, you know, recognized a lot of like, because I was showing off the artwork too, like not just from the albums, but like the character designs that I've done. You know, there's a lot of drawings that are associated with plot points of the stories in these albums. And it was cool to like finally like lay everything out there so that people can actually know like what's happening, you know, in each of these chapters. Because it's like I'm not only writing a, you know, crafting a story with like what I'm writing, you know, the characters, whatnot, you know, lyrics in the songs. It's also with the sounds that are being heard, the textures that are present. It's with like the length and structure of songs. And they're also like, you know, as we go forward, they're going to be more and more callbacks to like older songs, like because the storyline that I'm creating, like I'm a big nerd for like Legend of Zelda, Kingdom Hearts, Star Wars, you know, and so I like the idea of like future moments influencing moments in the past, but also vice versa. Like they're two separate timelines, but then they meet at one, like, you know, at one point in time, and they change the course of history for both timelines, you know.
Did you come up with like the storyline and as that you're referencing? Did you come up with that prior to ever thinking about music, or was it something that was like organically formed past that?
The music actually came first, and as I listened to it more and more, listened to the kind of things that I was writing, I built the story on top of that. Like with the first album, Asylum, that's probably the most important album to the entire 13, to my entire career with 13, because I worked on that one the longest. It took like 11 years from the moment I started writing it to the moment it was released, like officially released. Like I've done like an underground release of like a demo version of it before, but apart from like a few, you know, diehards in South America who still have a copy of that, like no one really heard it, and I'm kind of glad because that's not the completed version. But with Asylum, like the structure of that album, the songs, the mood, the flow, that was already like well determined beforehand, and I didn't come up with the idea of having that tell a story until we were getting closer to when I'd be releasing the albums every year. And so like I just took the feel of the songs and like built the story on top of that, and from there, like, you know, anytime I'm trying to add more bits and pieces to the storyline, I just listen to the music that's there and I listen to what it's trying to tell me. So it's like it's not just me getting my message out there through the music. The music is playing a message through me out to you. You know what I mean?
Actually, that was a pretty good answer. Actually, covered legitimately covered the question, which is great. A lot of times, I mean, like I've asked that question, like the Deftones answered it well too. I mean, that was a similar question to Billy's band that I asked concerning whether or not like the music wrote itself or were you writing the lyrics afterwards. They answered it well too. That was a good answer. That pretty much covered it. I mean, it's a strange thing to focus on, but it is interesting if you have an overall storyline, like from a comic book standpoint, for example. If you're writing a comic book, you come up with an entire story behind it, right? And a lot of times you would give it to an artist for them to interpret the best way to put it together. But then you have other people that are writers that also have an image in mind, so that they will give like this is the conversation occurring, but I also want the angle, like 3 degrees up from the fucking floor, and so forth and so on. Like it was a visual thing before it was anything else. So I mean that answered my question really, really well. I mean it's music and then inspires additions to the story.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a track writing itself, kind of.
Yeah, and like it, in the earlier on albums, it did start from like the songs already being there, but like anytime I'm creating any sort of music, it can come from like a line of lyrics I just thought of, it can come from a guitar riff I just came up with, it can come from a drum beat that I'm like, that sounds cool, I haven't done that yet, I'll try that, and then I'll just mock it up on my computer and like see if I can write something to that. But as the 13 albums continue releasing and like we get deeper and deeper into the storyline with like the later albums, because they're not quite as like fully planned out as the older albums were. The later albums, more of those songs are written with the idea of what it will represent in the story in mind, as opposed to like just feeling out what I've already written separate from that story and finding a way to connect the two.
So like all of it is in service to furthering the story.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Exactly.
It's fucking cool.
And like I know exactly how I want the story to end. It's just a matter of figuring out how to get there. And with
Steve
the last
said something like that.
Yeah. And with the last 4 albums,
make it work.
Oh yeah. And with the last 4 albums, they're gonna be a lot more unique from what 13 has done so far. Like I want to, by that point, I want to erase the idea that we're a nu metal band, that we're tied to like that one specific genre, because by the time we get there, that aspect of the sound won't be nearly as prevalent. Though I know we'll always be regarded as part of that movement. Like I want to prove that unmetal can be so much more than that.
Well, I mean, musically, it'll always come back around. You mentioned Limp Bizkit earlier. I think James, you were talking about like the whole idea that like the Fred Durst is popping back up with Limp Bizkit, and it's almost like their time.
Yeah.
I feel like genres are a cyclical thing, and they're also it's a weird thing to automatically relegate anything to a genre. Like the idea of nu metal being its own thing always confused me, because it felt like, at least to me at the age that I was, nu metal popping up when it did was almost a distillation of metal prior to it, because it was all based around fucking the chugging guitar lines, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was all of it was based around. So like the idea was, it was like what was metal was bound to fucking evolve into.
Right.
That was at least my way of looking at it. The problem is, I think, is that there were a lot of people that jumped into the nu metal shit that did. It was like you had like System of a Down is considered to be a nu metal band. I don't know what the fuck they are, but I don't consider them to be nu metal based off of what nu metal is. They were something different to me.
I think they were just like there at the time. They just happened.
They got lopped into it, and and that's not a bad thing, because the thing is, there was a lot of nu metal that like it was catchy. The shit would get stuck in your head, and it had a relatively intense chugging guitar line that may have been the simplest fucking thing on earth to play, but it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking Static X became, like, let's be fair, Static X is a shit band. They were garbage, but man, you put them on at a party and everybody was happy. They played.
I like.
Well, don't get me wrong, dude. I'm not gonna talk shit about anybody's taste. It's just from my standpoint.
I'm just gonna say I saw them a couple of years ago with actually it was like a year ago. I saw them with Fear Factory, and I think Dope and Devil Driver. Actually, that might have been a different show, but I saw that with Fear Factory, and that was my first time seeing Fear Factory. The two of them back to back, holy fucking shit, was an insane show.
Back to the
like,
it
I
would
can
be-
imagine.
It would feel
Yeah.
great to hear it. It's back to the fucking chugging guitar lines, which is what I was going to eventually get to with Static XCOM.
Yeah.
Not a big fan, but still, you could put them on at a party, and it fucking worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Granted, you could do the same thing with the Spice Girls in the right environment.
True.
You can do that in my apartment.
Do that.
Man. That sounds like a good party.
I think it's
Yeah,
funny. Their selling point, like, is a robotic fucking Wayne Static. And
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the thing. And, like,
I think it's pretty awesome.
the
No,
showmanship,
it's
I guess, is
badass.
what you would say. I mean, the whole idea, like the long hair spiked straight up, and the fucking the grimaces while singing, it was showmanship. It was, once again, it was what metal was bound to be distilled into eventually.
Yeah.
Fucking Papa Roach. You can throw fucking Papa Roach in there if you fucking want to, you know?
Yeah,
Again,
you could.
not a band I get behind, but I understand their place and why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's the whole
I
idea.
don't. Not
Basically, what I'm saying,
personally-
the idea of new metal being sectioned out, to me, it was just metal.
He's about to be like, that's
all
yeah,
metal.
yeah.
It's just a different.
As we talked about earlier. I don't hate Nickelback. I think they did their job, whatever the fuck that was.
I mean, I do.
the thing about new metal that always interested me was like every new metal band was like metal combined with something else. Like you had, you know, Slipknot was like thrash and industrial mixed with, or well, thrash is metal, but you know, it was like new metal with an emphasis on thrash and like, you know, electronic club music. You had Il Nino, which was like a new metal band with like the Latin influences. You had Static X, they brought like
Soulfly, Sepultura,
yeah. You had
Cold Chamber.
Cold Chamber.
Yeah, Cold Chamber. Yeah, they were bringing more of like the goth element to new metal. You had Limp Bizkit that was bringing
Even Kitty.
more of like the hip hop crowd.
Oh,
Yeah,
Kitty, absolutely. Kitty.
The Kitty, yeah.
Hey, they're making there's a resurgence.
They're making a comeback, yeah. I think
They're
there's a
still
new
fucking
album
ripping,
now.
bro.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was the point that I was trying to make. If music is cyclical, it has always been cyclical. I mean, the whole idea that, like, if you look at disco, right? Dance hits of the fucking 70s. The fact that anybody ever talked shit about it and annihilated an entire baseball field over it, right? Disco. Techno.
I mean, I use it in a lot of funny TikToks.
It is literally, it came back in the form of electronica, you know? And it's not like it's people that were like, disco sucks, were like right in line to buy like any number of fucking techno albums because it's a good, it's good music. It's just people, I guess, get tired. I don't know. The point of the matter is, new metal has made its way back around. You can hear its influence even now in rock that's coming out right this moment.
Oh yeah.
There were kids that grew up on it that are like, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. No,
It's point also, I don't mean that in any disparaging way, because like to me it was just metal. It was just it still is, it was what metal was eventually going to become.
Exactly. And you know, there's a reason why there are so many crossover with like people who are fans of like Deftones and people who are fans of like Sleep Token and Bad Omens. Like, you know, they're both clearly influenced by that band, like very obviously. And you know, it's the cross-pollination of like the new and old bands are have like bringing those old new metal bands back into mainstream popularity. And you know, we've also got bands like Korn and Slipknot still going strong, like after all these years. You know, Slipknot,
They never stopped either.
Yeah,
No,
those bands never really stopped.
Pack venues. They pack venues the whole fucking time. They never went
They
away.
sell out every show. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, that's the other thing. People act like it just stopped. It never stopped. It's the same like punk rock.
Never.
If you argue that punk rock popped up in fucking 77, which is that's the general consensus, it never went away. It never went anywhere. Neither did like there's even fucking rap metal never went away. It was always there. And for people that love the genre, it was always ready to go.
Yeah.
So look at the Judgment Night soundtrack. That's one of my favorite soundtracks.
Oh, Judgment Night soundtrack's a fucking badass soundtrack. It's one of the best you can listen to as far as that goes.
Yeah.
So you guys want to talk shit about Trapped?
I don't know, Buddha. I think I made one comment before he shut me down.
Yeah.
That's a fun shit. Craig, I actually enjoy your comments on that. When you send me the screenshots, it makes me happy. Like I'll just be hanging at my house and you send me a screenshot, I'm like, yeah, get them.
You know what's funny is like I had just done a cover of Headstrong and I was like, this is gonna be a good cover song. And then that shit went down back in the day when Trapped was like going to war with everyone over Facebook. And I'm like, delete this shit. I ain't doing it.
What I love about that dude is he takes the time to argue with anybody that talks to him.
Everyone.
On the one hand, way to go for you and your perseverance. Keep going, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's more entertaining than any music you've ever made.
Yeah, I think I lasted one comment on like a Facebook page. One comment.
Wasn't it like he was bragging about his bus and you said something about it and he was like, damn.
I was like, you had to buy your own bus.
This guy doesn't get to say anything about my rented bus.
Oh, man.
That was actually, you know what? That's a banner.
Get out of my house.
It's just poetic irony that the guy who wrote the lyrics to Headstrong is that guy.
It turns out that his lyrics. It was true. I'll argue with you regardless of how wrong I am. You may have proved it 12 times, but I'll keep talking until I fucking make myself look dumb as shit.
Yeah.
Here you go, guy from Trapped. We're rooting for you. Whatever the fuck your name is.
Don't know, don't care.
Also, I'm sorry for your band. You notice they don't jump in. It's just
there's a picture out there of the Trapped playing live, and there's honestly like 3 or 4 people in the crowd. Everybody keeps making fun of it.
That video, or I don't like. Not that this should turn into just talking shit about Trapped, but while we're here,
we're not Pantera got it.
What did you like? The one like I looked him up at that when you sent me the thing about the bus when he was like, "This is our tour bus. I'm doing great." And you made a comment, and it fucking shut it down because it's not his, and they're fucking not. Point of the matter is, that all happens, and then there's another post right under that where it's some like they played somewhere. I think it was in Texas or some shit. He was like, "Pack the crowd," but the camera, like the picture, was taken clearly from very close to the stage at an angle across the 4 people that were there. Like 100%. Like this was not a packed venue. This was a sad affair in which everybody, including the audience, was depressed with the outcome. Okay. And then somebody posted a picture from the back of the room. It was literally 4 fucking people standing in front of the stage looking slightly upset themselves. And like once again, I think that was part of what made the day so great. And you drew attention to that. Thank you.
You know, it's awkward when you're the dude on stage being like, "Hey, everyone, come up to the front of the stage. You know, get close." But it's extra awkward when everyone there wants to do that, and it's like 5 people.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's like we would like to thank you all for coming out tonight. So you gather your girlfriends, other bands. I'm right on up here, and we're just gonna perform like it's a real fucking thing.
Oh, I have been there so many fucking times.
Miles for this moment.
Pretty much.
We would like to thank our homie Steve for coming out tonight.
Yeah.
Only him.
That's exactly it. Steve, you've been with us
And
forever.
only him because
This time you brought your
because
Either way, this next one's called Headstrong. I know you've been waiting.
on that note,
Bill and Salma Trapped.
we're not going back to that. I had my rant. Oh god. Well, Zeke, as always, man, this has been a fucking hoot, a blast, whatever you want to call it.
Hell yeah.
Everybody go check out the single Demise on the YouTube channel. Check out 13 on Spotify, Apple Music, all that fun stuff. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Instagram. You can find them on YouTube. They have their own channel.
Yes, and keep your eyes and ears open for our 8th album. Lost Souls is the name of the album. It'll be out October 13th this year. And 5 more to go after that one. You know, join us on this wild ride to see what happens in 2030.
Oh yeah, we're here for the long haul, buddy. And,
hell yeah!
And in the meantime, check out the other 7 albums that he's done. It's all good shit. It's all good shit. I promise you.
All of them are fun, and all of them are very purposefully different from each other. You know, even if they feel like they're part of the same, style of music, there's a uniqueness from album to album. Yeah,
I can definitely attest to that. I believe before we had you on the first time, I even spent a week listening to all of the music up until that point. So I can definitely guarantee you each album is different from the one before it. And it's like I can't say it enough, man. It's great shit. It takes me back to when I was young. And I'm sure we can all agree. When we were young, it was a great time, right?
Musically, yes.
Didn't really have a
fantastic time.
Yes. Musically, well, physically for me, because I wasn't,
Oh yeah.
My hips were aligned, my back.
I didn't have back problems yet. I forgot how awesome
exactly.
Not having back problems.
I was flexible at one point.
I don't ever recall being flexible.
Doctor says I need a back.
Had to have happened. I mean, it's uterus.
Yeah, man. I mean, we all did somehow. All right. But yeah, on October 13th, the new album, Lost Souls 13. Zeke, as always, man, thank you again, brother. Great time having you. Billy, Craig, Jason, as always, my brothers.
Introducing Pizza Ranch Salad Dressing! Just exactly what does it taste like? New Taco Ranch Salad Dressing! Care to comment on the flavor? And new Nacho Cheese Ranch! Can you describe its taste? Fun new flavors that will blow your mind! New from Hidden Valley.
RoboCop, part man, part robot, all cop.
Drop it!
RoboCop and the Ultra Police, each sold separately. The only cops with rapid repeat cap firing.
Evil headhunter on a Skullhawk is cruising for trouble. RoboCop in his armored RoboCopter takes off after him. Fire Robo-Missile. We'll give you a lift to jail.
You put RoboCopter together. RoboCop vehicles and figures with RoboCaps, each sold separately.